Hello and welcome to a very, very early woodland morning. This area, this plantation, primary beech trees is a real favourite of mine. But we've got a treat today. I've got something and I'm doing something with a certain company. Don't panic, it's not a product review. I did say I'm not doing any more of them. But when you're given a Nikon Z8, what's a man to do? Come on, let's go and photograph some trees. We've wandered up to a part where I've stopped to talk to you guys and try and be all, you know, David Attenborough walking through the scene, realising that this scene could make a beautiful photograph. I love the light to the side and these deep, dark, heavy wood of the beech trees. It is quite a big expanse of trees here. Like I said, predominantly beech trees. But this scene, well, Nikon got in touch with me and I'm doing a piece of content for them. They've loaned me the Nikon Z8 and a 14-30. I'm lost for words, I really am. And this is going to be difficult to do because I don't like bragging. So we're not going to brag. I don't like product reviews, so we're not going to do a product review. What we're going to do is a hands-on, touchy-feely in the woodland using the Z8 and the 14-30. And I am very excited. I've already had a little play with it and it is, comparing it to the Z7, this, like I say, this is not a review. I love my Z7, but it feels like such a pro step up. This Z8, just numbers, aren't they? They're just numbers, but there is a huge difference. There's a lot of stuff on it I'll never use. The focusing is rapid. The way it moves and handles within using the focus pointer is rapid, which is great for street, but it's a fair old butch camera. It is a D850 with its mirror tuck out and some. That's where it kind of aims for me personally. It's the modern day D850. Never had one, never had the chance to hold one. So to get hold of this camera, the Z8, and have a play with it is a privilege, especially when it comes to places like this and we're never given the right conditions. I had to just come out. It was either sit in the van, go back home and have a brew, or come out and just venture into this beautiful woodland. Of course, the woodland won, and the camera is gonna get a good test here. I tell you what, the light is, it's not great. We're forecast heavy rain and storms, which under this canopy should be fine, but the Z8 is fully weather sealed. The 14-30 is weather sealed, but of course, it's not mine. And you worry, you think, don't break it. I can't afford it. So I guess Nikon want me to buy it. You're welcome to let me loan it long term, Nikon, if you don't mind. Yeah, it's not happening. Oh, bit of light. So I'm going to take this shot handheld at about 30mm, not using the wide end yet. I've got some ideas for the wider part of this lens and getting set up. So a quick shot here, just purely feeling it on expression, on the colours and the contrast, and we'll see what it looks like. Here we are. What a scene. A difficult scene to work out all the pieces. I think where I've got you in the camera there works really well. we can drop down onto this other level and photograph the roots, which is what I did the other day. Like I said, I'll put those images up at the end. I can't believe this, we're getting some beautiful light coming through now. It is just after 7. I've been here since 4:30. Couldn't film, it was so dark. There's a huge storm clouds are on the horizon. I can just see through to the farmers' fields, and it's black against the golden yellow of the fields, and that would make a shot, but I'm not panicking, I'm not rushing around today. I just want to enjoy these trees and play with this camera. Like I said, if you want a review, there's loads of YouTubers out there giving it the old Z8s. Compare this, Nikon rubbish, Nikon great. I'm a Nikon man, and I have to say, it's an honour and a privilege to be using a piece of equipment like this. YouTubers like me don't get these chances, and that's why I'm here today. Sorry, photographers like me, artists like myself, like you guys, don't get these opportunities, and when you do, you've just got to go with it. Local Woodland, but I tell you what a special place this is. You know, I've been coming here for years, and you have to kind of put your mind to one side and appreciate it as somewhere known. It's a psychological thing. You hear about these locations and you think that's where the better images are, when they're actually on your doorstep. I don't think the iPhone's holding up well today in here due to there being no light. I'm just going to take you on a little wander before I come back and get this shot. I've been looking at this deadfall here and the textures in these leaves, and how again another fallen branch. Starting to think wide angle. I've only had the 14-30 for 3 days and the camera. I've been out with it once, had a little play at home. I do miss that wide angle. Anybody else get that? I've been at the 24 for such a long time using the 24mm, and it is a wide angle, you know. It's classed as a wide angle, but it's tight, isn't it, compared to 14. It's how you can bend and change the composition, how you can push into the foreground and lift up into the you know, above the horizon. And just doing that fulcrum with the camera on a composition is great fun, and I have missed it a lot. So that shot there with the roots and this beautiful beech tree. But we're going to head back and get both these in. There's this one here, and Rooty, who we're going to grab next. I'll get a name. I started doing a bit of work. I think I've only took 2 pictures. Too much of that. I'm waiting for light, you see. I'm seeing that the image quality isn't great, so please accept my apologies for this vlog. It doesn't really come across on the camera because of exposure compensation, but it really is quite gloomy and dark in here today. So it's enhancing when the light comes, the green in the leaves, it's the luminescence when the light flows through really pops against these dark and moody beech trees. Right, let's get set up. Right, so I've used my Benro the original tripod clip for this because I'm not using my Peak Design clip on my bag. Got a Peak Design strap, finally. I thought I want to be safe, just in case. I've got this for when I'm walking around handheld, as I did the other night. This shot is magnificent. I've F10, 2 seconds. That's how bad the light is, ISO 64. But what I really love about this is the clean screen. I can just go through the display, remove everything and see the picture as it stands. Now, I was gonna go quite tight on it, but I am at the moment around 20mm. So I've come quite in. I say quite in, 20mm is still wide, but the composition here, well, I love it. I just love this angle. And it's not what I was expecting to shoot today. Oh, look at that light. Look at that light. You can hear the shutter is non-existent. It feels so delicate. And what's ridiculous, and I probably will never use this, is we can shoot up to 120 frames a second. Am I actually saying that right? It sounds ridiculous. 120 frames a second in JPEG, but in RAW, you can shoot 20 RAW files, which is bonkers. Here we have the beech nuts, or mast as they're known. Great food for all the squirrels that live here. There's hundreds. There is no growth here, really is no understory, but it's just all this quite dead and dry ground. So I'm just gonna take you through what I'm thinking while we've lost the light again. Hopefully that's not the end of it. We've done quite well. It's now 7:41. This root system is beautiful. And as I say, all the beech nuts are massed, that's scattered everywhere. It's quite dead, the floor. There's no understory, there's no small shrubbery or trees. We just have this bare land, which can be difficult to photograph, especially further up where the canopy's thick and you get nothing growing. Squirrels love it, but sadly, yeah, it gets weathered away and it leaves these roots behind, and that's the shot. We've got this arching loop leading you up to this magnificent beach. I'm unsure whether to keep these in the background, as you can see here. We've got some real interesting shapes and collection of trees grouped with the light. The light is filtering onto those, but nothing onto here. I'm going to get set up real close into these roots and play around with this 14mm and hopefully get this wonderful, wonderful creature in the frame. Right, so I didn't want you to put up with seeing my gluteus, so we've set the composition up, and look what Nikon have given us in the Z8. Please add this to everything. And can you make it so it articulates sideways as well? Yes, we've got an articulating screen that works in portrait. This is a game changer, but it feels a little bit like I'm talking from the 1980s. Seriously, an articulating screen should have been done years ago. So well done, and finally adding it to the Z8. It isn't enough reason for drop 4K. It really isn't. But this camera, to me, it does feel like it's a damn fine camera. Like the D850, it should last you over 10 years. I've had the Z7 now for, is it 3 years? Approaching that. I have no ambition to swap it, change it, anything, apart from I dropped it. I know, and luckily my L bracket saved it. It did. Without that L bracket, I think the camera would be dead. I had a fuzzy screen for a few seconds and then it came back, and thankfully it's okay. But that would be the only reason really to upgrade, was if your camera died. If it did, yeah, I may go for the Z8. 4 grand though, that's a lot of money, and it's a lot of money for anyone. So Nikon, if you do watch this, can I keep it a bit longer? Anyway, we've got this tree going off to the right, and we've got the light on the left. I better get a shot actually, because if I don't, this light's gonna go. We've got a wonderful shape of the roots taking you up to this magnificent tree. I want more in the top third of this tree, but even this lens isn't wide enough at the moment. I may drop down further, I may come up further, leave less of the roots, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to play around here. You see, it's so easy to just pull that back there. Now, see, it's quite messy with the rocks, so let's do a bit of gardening. Right, so just explain to you what I've done. I've pulled back a bit, and this route here, this system is taking us right through the frame, but I'm making more of the top of the tree now and the canopy. I'm focusing right on the tree. There's nothing special here. I'm focusing around here, straight in the front. We're at f11. I am going to try some bigger depth of field. I tell you what, we'll do it now. We'll go for f16. It's given me around 5 seconds, and that's it. Today I have been putting my whole video on this composition. Why? Because of the wide angle, because of the Z8 giving me the opportunity to slow down and talk to you about where we are, and show just how this woodland is beautiful, and it's very local. Go and find yourself your local woodland. If you've liked this, you know what to do. Hit subscribe, and if you want to see more, hit the notification bell. And as the rain pours down, give me your support. Head over to Patreon for a couple of bob and join me there, because I've got podcasts being played out across the Patreon sphere. So the in-between episode has gone over to Patreon, and I'm really happy with it so far, and I can get that content to the growing community I have on there. So head over for a couple of bob and join me on Patreon. And well, there's only one thing left to say. From the Nikon Z8, me and my local woodland, that's see there.